Hello friends, welcome back to Cosmopolitan Cornbread. My name is Constance, and a couple of weeks ago I filmed a video about an issue that I was having, or that I had experienced, with some grocery store-bought chicken. And there were a lot of theories as to what could have caused the problem that I was seeing. And I talked a little bit about how our food system is really not that trustworthy, whether it's the FDA or the USDA. And I talked about how I was actually really appreciative to see that more people were starting to pay attention to what Americans eat. Our food source and the ingredients that are put in it are something that I've kind of been paying attention to for a really long time. It's why I started cooking for my family from scratch, a long time ago. And when I began making changes to the way we ate, 2 decades ago, I saw immediate improvement in our health. My allergies, my seasonal allergies that I used to have when we lived in North Carolina, I was miserable for 6 months out of the year. It went from 6 months to about 3 days. It was amazing. Like, there were so many things that happened just by changing the way we ate. One of my kids had chronic ear infections. They completely stopped. There was just so many things that got immediately better just by cutting out the processed foods, getting rid of the boxes and getting rid of all that stuff that was pre-made, and really buying ingredients and making things myself. So the fact that currently we're seeing a lot more people really paying attention to the ingredients that are in the boxes that people are buying and feeding their families, I'm happy to be seeing that. Getting back to the chicken situation, we had run to the big box store. We had bought some of this chicken. It's not what we usually consume because, I try to be particular about where I source my groceries, particularly meats. And we had bought this chicken and it was not edible. And I described the situation in that video, and if you missed it, I'll put a link up here in a card or in the video description down below. You can go back and watch it if you like. But I wanted to give you an update because I spent hours and hours doing research, searching the internet, going through research studies and documentation and all of these reports and all this stuff about the particular issue that I was seeing, and it looked like I had figured out what caused the problem. And a few days ago, I actually filmed an update for you guys. However, it was part of another video, and that video was going to be so long, I decided to cut that part out and just make it its own standalone video because, people in particular were wanting to know what caused this, if there was any updates on that. And so making that its own video I thought would be a little bit of a better option, plus cutting down that really long video to more of a bite-sized thing. So with that, I am just going to go ahead and share with you the update that I filmed a few days ago. And so with that, here's the update. Friends, I'm happy to be partnering with Sanctified Supply Company. They are the people who make all of those great Biblical Feast t-shirts that you often see me wearing, and several more of the shirts that I have. You can find the link to their website in the video description down below and check out all of the things that they make. And when you shop there, you can save 10% if you use my discount code Cornbread. Go check them out. But I did want to share one other update real quick. I had a lot of feedback about the video that I did, I think it was last week or the week before, about the chicken that I had bought at the grocery store. And there's just a couple things I want to address about that. First of all, a lot of people saying, why are you buying meat at Walmart? You know, blah, blah, blah. Well, I don't usually buy meat at Walmart. If you listened carefully to what I was saying in the video, I said I had run out of meat, out of chicken, and there was something that I was going to make, and just ran to Walmart to get the chicken. Now, we do not live in a place where there's lots of grocery stores to choose from. The drive that I'm going to do today to go to Whole Foods or Natural Grocers or whatever it is up there, we're talking a couple 100 miles of driving to do this. It's like a whole day trip to go get these groceries. I don't live where there's a lot of other options. There is another kind of like chain grocery store in the area called Harps. But honestly, I haven't seen much in those grocery stores, at least not the ones that I've been in. I've heard they're not all the same. But the ones that I've been in, it's like you can't hardly find the word organic, let alone organic meat, which is not, you know, as common. I get a lot of my groceries from Asia Standard. There is a health food type of grocery store, but it's very small in Fort Smith. They don't have a lot to choose from. I was reminded, though, that they have 2 locations. One is near downtown Fort Smith, and it's supposed to be bigger than the one that's by, it's kind of near Lowe's. It's like next door to one of the Aldis in Fort Smith, which we have Aldis too. And that's pretty much. But those are all in Fort Smith, which is not where I live. It's the closest city to where I live. So if I need to go to like the hardware store or, you know, get different things, Fort Smith is where I am generally going to do my shopping. There are a couple of smaller hardware stores that are closer to where I live, but they don't always have all the things that I need. You know, when you live in a area that most people would consider in the boonies, you just don't have a lot of options. So yes, I don't normally buy my chicken from Walmart, but when you're completely out and you don't have time to go, you know, and spend 2 hours of driving to go to a store other than Walmart, you're gonna run to Walmart and get some chicken, you know. But unfortunately, the chicken that I had purchased, like I shared in that video, it was full of blood. And this was not like the chicken got injured in the truck or was handled poorly and had like broken bones or anything like that. I would describe this, and you know, I had people asking me for photos. I didn't think to take photos at the time. I was just so disgusted at what I was seeing, I just threw the chicken away. But I would describe what I saw as petechial hemorrhaging. This was not a normal injury. To be honest, my first thought was, did they put something in this chicken that caused blood vessels to rupture or clots, if you know what I'm saying? So I did not trust it. The entire muscle of the chicken breast, it was boneless, skinless chicken breasts. The entire muscle, all throughout the muscle, was completely peppered with blood clots, little bitty blood clots and broken vessels everywhere. And I actually spent some time doing a little bit of homework after that. Yeah, now, there was a lot of people saying that this wasn't real meat, this was lab meat. No, it's not. No, it wasn't. You can tell by the fibers, you can tell that this is not fake chicken, okay? I did some homework on this chicken and what could cause, and I typed in petechial hemorrhaging in chicken meat. And I started doing searches for this particular situation. And I was able to track down some PDF files, and I don't think it was through the USDA. I think it was like through a university somewhere where they were talking about meat quality and things like that. And what I discovered in doing this researching was that when the chickens are being processed, they basically electrocute the chickens, and it shocks them before they're eviscerated. So it kind of like is supposed to just like knock them out so that when they're, you know,
it's supposed to be more humane. However, if the voltage is not correct, if it is done poorly, it causes petechial hemorrhaging throughout the body of the chicken. And there was actually, they were poor photos, but they were black and white, but it was exactly what I was seeing in this chicken. And knowing that there are some companies who are sending meat, animals from the United States to other countries to be processed and then sent back is not very comforting. And I've known this stuff for years. You know, I had a couple people like, are you just now figuring out there's something wrong with the food supply? I'm like, no, I've known this for a very long time, which is why I started cooking generally from scratch 20 plus years ago, you know. And yeah, the food industry problems is not something that's new to me. But the chicken, as I was saying, the electrocution is what caused the blood vessels to pop. And I suspected that that's what it was after reading this documentation. And I actually had someone send a message, and I can't remember if they left it in a comment on the video or if it was an email that I received, because I got a bunch of emails about that. But it was someone who was in the chicken farming industry, and they said that that's exactly what it was. They confirmed that it was the electrocution that that causes that, which is from the university documentation said that this is a very poor quality of chicken because of it. This is a fault. This is not a normal. The chicken's not supposed to look like that. And then I had a lot of people asking me, well, what kind of chicken was it? What brand was it? It was Purdue. And I'm not saying that to like diss the brand or anything like that, but that's the brand it was. Now, I do sometimes buy my chicken from Aldi. I get organic chicken there. I order frozen chicken from As Your Standard. And then just recently, I started ordering it from a company called Good Ranchers. They are an American-owned company. They do beef, chicken, you know, all that stuff. And when all this stuff started coming out about the gene juice that they were potentially going to be giving animals, I saw the owner of the company being interviewed, and he said, we will never, ever do that, ever. And so if it means paying a little bit more for good quality meats that, you know, I haven't raised myself, then to me it's worth it. I do get my beef from someone in the area, a local farmer. I know how the animals were raised. I know the people that raise them, and so I'm good on the beef. But, you know, chicken is something that I've had to buy. However, I have put it in order for chicks for the spring. And, you know, we've never raised, I've butchered chickens before, but not like an entire batch of them. But that'll change in the spring because we will raise our first batch of meat birds.
So that is it, friends. Thank you again for joining me here at the Mountain Homestead. If you are brand new here, my name is Constance, and here at Cosmopolitan Cornbread, I do generally 3 videos every week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, on homesteading, home cooking, and back to basics. Over at my website, cosmopolitancornbread.com, you can find over 800 recipes, articles, and more, as well as Bible resources. Every Saturday here on the channel, I do a live scripture reading and Bible chat. I call it Coffee and Scriptures. You can also sign up for my free email newsletter to stay up to date on everything happening here at the homestead here in the Arkansas mountains. So thank you again for spending some time with me. I will talk to y'all next time.